Hey y'all, hey, and welcome to another session of Meditations with Marigny. So tonight I want to talk just briefly about um dating compatibility. And I want to talk not about like looks or physical features. I want to talk to you about the little things. So I guess maybe around Christmas or Thanksgiving, I think I did a video and I was talking about the little things, like when you meet someone and you're in that dating process, like the little things that come up that you don't discuss. And specifically, I want to talk about things that may be very, very, very important to one person in a relationship, but they may not be as important to someone else. And how, over a period of time, sometimes we look at things of where they are right then in the beginning, what it looks like. But over a period of time, can I see myself with this person under these circumstances? And I want to use some real things. I want to go back to when I first started the dating process, and I visited with a young man that had a level of interest in me, and I had a level of interest in him. And I remember when I walked into his apartment, I said, "Oh no, I ain't gonna never be able to keep my house like this immaculate." Now he's a bachelor. His children, his he had one child. His child was grown, off in college, but only came home like Christmas, Thanksgiving, things like that, spring break or something. And this person, like, everything was in its place, and I think that's great. As you guys can see, I like beautiful things, I like nice things, but my house, in my opinion, it's just my personal opinion, I do not have what I consider a model home. And I don't anticipate to have a model home. I have a few friends that I think that their house, it looks like a model home. When you walk into their house, everything is in a specific place. Even when you go in their pantry, everything is lined up a certain way. They got all the drinks in order, they got all the water in order. You go in my pantry, it may look like that when I first clean it out. And after my kids go in there and they put stuff in, it's going to be stuff everywhere. And at some point in the next 6 months, we're going to have to clean it out and do that all over again. You come in my bathroom, in my closet, you're going to see all my towels lined up a certain way. Now, I do have that kind of in order. All my t-shirts are lined up a certain way. But I actually had some help to do that. I had someone that came in and did some organization for me, and I've just been able to maintain that. But I'm bringing up this point because one of the conversations that I like to have with people, with the men that I've met, is I like to go deeper into what do our day-to-day life look like. Like, don't just look at the fact that I think that me and this person are compatible. I do think that we got, good core values, and we can both go to work, and we're both going to have good work ethics, and we don't have to worry about infidelity and cheating. But then when you look at things like that, one of the things that I looked at is while I was visiting with him, and like I said, this was when I first started the dating process. When I was visiting with him, like if I ate something, he would go and get the dish and wash it. For me, if it's like a Friday night and I come home and we eating pizza, and sometimes, y'all, if I'm eating pizza and I'm watching a movie there on the sofa, I may sleep right there on the sofa. I may or may not get up and go get in the bed. So if I fall asleep on the sofa, the crust from the pizza might still be right there on the table if that's where I finished that product at that night. And I might get up and wash that dish the next day, but it's not going to be so important to me that that has to be washed that night. And I'm saying that because sometimes we can focus on the wrong thing because we're making that the main thing. Excuse me. One of the things that I've said is that I want to be more intentional with spending quality time. And I've always been that way. But for instance, today was a Saturday that I had off. I haven't had a Saturday off where I haven't had something to do in a while. My son had a baseball game last night and it got rained out. So they pushed it to today. Excuse me. And when they pushed it to today, that meant that I had to drive almost 45 minutes to get to his game. And then I decided to visit with a friend. And in me doing that, I could have came home and folded these clothes that are still sitting in the basket. They're clean clothes, but they're in the basket right now. I could have decided that today, because I had a day off, I need to get those clothes out the basket. But I went to my son's game. He enjoyed the fact that I was there. I was able to get his hit. He was like, Mom, I don't even think you saw my hit, did you? And I was like, Yes, son, I got it. He was like, Cool. Then I went and visited with a friend. And one of the things that I shared with a young man is that I'm okay with the time that I spent today, because my house can always get cleaned at another time. But I can't go back to my son's game, and I can't go back and spend time with a friend that I didn't have time to normally go and do that. But I'm saying that to you guys to say, think about the little things that are going to be important to you. You might be very compatible with one person, but if it's one person that like everything in the house has to be in its own place, that's something that you have to think about. If it's somebody like me who pulled out 5 pair of tennis shoes this morning and now it's 5 boxes in my closet where the tennis shoes, I've switched them out until I found the one that I wanted to wear. And, either tonight I'm going to go in there and I'm going to put them back in the box and put them back over on their lined up shelves. Or tomorrow when I get home from church, I'm going to do that. But I'm not going to stress out over that tonight. That's not going to be a priority for me. And so finding someone that portion of your life is compatible with them, I would rather spend time with my person than to be worried about going in there and putting some shoes back in a box. If my husband comes and he says, Baby, come on, let's watch a movie, I am going to watch the movie and the clothes are going to stay in the basket. And at some point, I think he and I might get a chance to get together and we might use that as a bonding time to fold the clothes together. But I'm saying that to you guys that you need to have those conversations. People don't like to talk about little things like that. And me seeing that in that young man back then, and even have seen it with some guys recently, but me seeing it with that young man back then, it was a conversation that was important enough for me to have with him to let him know that I felt like that was going to be a challenge. Because I know that I keep a clean home, but I'm not going to keep a model home. I used to years ago, and maybe once I get finished with this degree and get my son out of high school and into college, I think that I will probably be a little bit more structured because I have a little bit more time, and that's one less person that's in the household. But the overall viewpoint for me is not going to be to focus in on that. I am going to be one that if I want to spend time with my person, I'm going to do that versus, just making sure that the house is spick and span all the time. And so I'm saying that to you guys to say, think about the little things that might cause a problem in a relationship, not the big picture items. If you agree with this, or if you have some comments in reference to it, I'd love for you to jump in the comments, give me some feedback. If you like the video, click like. If you love it, share it with a friend. And then I would love for you to subscribe. Have an awesome night, y'all. Bye.